Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the U.S. Valiant, watching the stars through the main screen. His ship had been exploring space for 6 months now, looking for new worlds and friendly aliens. The crew was excited because today might be the day they finally met someone else from the stars. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Lisa Brooks, his second in command. She was a smart woman who always stayed calm during tough times. "It's coming from that big ship ahead of us." Jake looked at the massive alien vessel floating in space. It was 3 times bigger than his ship and covered in strange metal that seemed to glow purple. Sharp spikes stuck out from all sides, making it look like a giant space weapon. "Let's talk to them," Jake said. "This is what we came here for." The main screen changed to show the inside of the alien ship. A tall creature appeared, standing, almost 8 feet high. Its skin was gray and scaly, and 4 arms moved as it spoke. 2 large yellow eyes stared at Jake with what looked like anger. "I am Admiral Kethfer of the Zephyrian Collective," the alien said in a deep, rough voice. "You will identify yourselves immediately." Jake stepped forward and smiled. "I'm Captain Jake Morrison of the United Earthship Valiant. We come in peace, hoping to make new friends and learn about your people." The alien made a sound that might have been laughing, but it was not a happy sound. "Friends? You are nothing but soft meat creatures who crawl through space in metal boxes. Your species is weak and pathetic." Lisa moved closer to Jake. She could see this was not going well. "We mean no harm," she said. "We just want to talk and maybe trade with your people." Admiral Kethfar's 4 arms waved angrily. "Trade? You have nothing we want. Your technology is primitive. Your ships are toys. Your people are children playing in the dark." Ryan Carter, the ship's weapons officer, looked worried. He was a young man who had joined the space service to see amazing things, not to fight. "Captain, their weapons are powering up," he whispered. Jake tried to stay calm. This was humanity's first meeting with aliens, and he wanted it to go well. "Admiral, surely we can work something out. We have much to offer each other. You offer nothing." Kethfer roared. "The Zephyrian Collective has ruled this part of space for 1,000 years. We are the strongest warriors in the galaxy. Every species bows to us or dies." Amanda Price, the ship's engineer, checked her screens. She was a tough woman who had fixed engines during the worst space storms. Now she was seeing something that scared her. "Captain, there are more ships coming. A lot more." Through the main screen, Jake could see 12 more Zephyrian warships, peering from behind a nearby moon. Each one was huge and covered in weapons. The aliens had been waiting for them. Admiral Kethfer smiled, showing sharp white teeth. "You see now, meat creature? You are surrounded. Your little ship is nothing compared to our fleet. What do you want from us?" Jake asked. "Simple," Kethfer said. "Your species will give us tribute. Every month, you will send us your best technology, your precious metals, and your strongest people to serve us. If you refuse, we will burn your worlds and kill everyone on them." Lisa felt her hands make fists. She had studied alien contact procedures for years, but nothing had prepared her for this. "You can't be serious. We just met you." "I am very serious." "Soft creature," the Admiral said. "We have already sent scouts to your home system. We know where planet Earth is. We know how many ships you have. It is not many." Ryan looked at his weapon controls. The U.S. Valiant had lasers and missile tubes, but they seemed so small compared to the alien fleet. "Captain, what do we do?" Jake thought about his wife and children back on Earth. He thought about all the people who were counting on explorers like him to keep them safe. The aliens thought humans were weak because they had never seen them fight. "Admiral," Jake said slowly, "I think you're making a big mistake." Kethfer laughed again. "Mistake?" What mistake could the mighty Zephyrian collective possibly make? When? Dealing with creatures like you? You think we're weak because we came here to explore and make friends, Jake said. You think our ships are toys because they're smaller than yours. But you don't understand something very important about humans. What? Could I possibly need to understand about inferior beings? Jake looked directly into the alien's yellow eyes. You developed your technology to explore space and build an empire. We developed ours to kill each other. For thousands of years, humans have done nothing but fight wars against other humans. Every weapon we have, every ship we build, every tactic we know comes from endless practice at destroying our own kind. The bridge of the UE's Valiant became very quiet. Even Jake's own crew looked surprised at his words. You want to threaten Earth? Jake continued. You want to attack human colonies? Go ahead and try. But understand this. Every human ship you meet was designed by a species that has turned warfare into an art form. We didn't come to the stars to conquer anyone. We came here to get away from our own wars. But if you want to start a fight with US, you'll learn why humans are very, very good at fighting. Admiral Kethfer smile faded. For the first time, he looked uncertain. Admiral Helen Davis sat in her office on Earth, reading the message from Captain Morrison's ship. The news was bad. Very bad. The first aliens humans had met wanted to destroy them and take over their worlds. Get me the president, she told her assistant, and call all the fleet commanders. We need to meet right now. Helen was a tough woman who had spent 30 years in space. She had fought pirates and stopped wars between human colonies. But this was different. This was about the survival of the entire human race. Within an hour, the top military leaders of Earth were gathered in the war room. President Clark sat at the head of the table, looking worried. Around him were the best military minds humanity had to offer. Tell me what we're facing, the president said. Helen stood up and activated the main screen. It showed pictures of the Zephyrian ships that Captain Morrison had sent. The aliens call themselves the Zephyrian Collective. They have bigger ships than us, and they've been conquering other species for 1,000 years. General Mike Rodriguez, head of the Space Marines, leaned forward. How many ships do they have? We don't know yet, Helen replied, but they're bringing more alien races into this. Our spy drones detected messages going out to something called the Veltar Empire and the Crystalline Hegemony. They're forming an alliance against us. Captain Steve Morgan, who commanded the powerful warship UES Thunderstrike, raised his hand. What do these other aliens want? The same thing, Helen said grimly. They want to divide up human space between them. They think we're easy targets because we're new to this part of the galaxy. Dr. Kevin Torres, the military strategist, pulled up charts on his tablet. He was a thin man with thick glasses who had studied every human war in history. This is actually good news for us, he said. Everyone stared at him. Good news? The president asked. Yes, sir. You see, these aliens made a huge mistake. They think our ships are weak because they're smaller than theirs. But they don't understand how human warships are designed. Kevin stood up and walked to the screen. Every other species in the galaxy developed their technology for exploration and trade. Their ships are built to carry cargo, explore new worlds, and show off their wealth. But humans? We built our ships for one purpose only, to kill other humans. Commander Nicole Wright, who ran intelligence operations, nodded. Our reports show that most alien species stopped fighting wars centuries ago. They use their fleets mainly for transport and ceremony. But not us, Kevin continued. Look at the UES Thunderstrike. It's smaller than a Zephyrian cruiser, but it carries enough nuclear missiles to destroy a moon. Its armor can survive a direct hit from a hydrogen bomb. Its crew is trained to fight in conditions that would kill most aliens. Captain Morgan smiled. Every human ship has enough firepower to level a city. We never stopped building weapons because we never stopped fighting each other. The president looked around the table. So you're telling me that our constant wars actually gave us an advantage? Exactly, Helen said. While aliens were building pretty ships for parades, we were building killing machines. A single human destroyer has more combat power than most alien fleets. Dr. Torres brought up more charts. I've been studying the intelligence reports. The Zephyrians use something called honor combat. They fly their ships in straight lines and take turns shooting at each other. It's more like a ceremony than a real battle. That's insane, said General Rodriguez. In human combat, we use every dirty trick we know. We attack from behind. We use traps. We target the weakest points. We fight to win, not to look good. Commander. Wright smiled coldly. They're about to learn the difference between ceremonial warfare and human warfare. The president made his decision. Admiral Davis, I want every human ship ready for battle. How long do we need? Our main fleet can be ready in 3 days, Helen replied. But sir, we should send a message to the galaxy first. Let them know what they're getting into. What kind of message? Captain Morgan spoke up. Let me take the Thunderstrike and a small battle group. We'll find one of their fleets and show them what human ships can really do. Dr. Torres nodded. A demonstration would be perfect. Once the other aliens see what happens to the Zephyrians, they might decide to stay out of this war. The president looked at Admiral Davis. What do you think? I think it's time the galaxy learned why humans are so good at fighting, she said. We've been practicing for thousands of years. Orders went out across the human fleet. Ships that had been exploring space or protecting trade routes were called back to Earth. Crews, who had been enjoying peaceful missions, suddenly found themselves preparing for the biggest war in human history. On Mars, the shipyards worked around the clock to prepare more vessels. The U's Warhammer, under Captain Dan Phillips, was loaded with the newest human weapons. The U.E.'s Retribution, commanded by Captain Amy Johnson, received special boarding equipment designed to capture enemy ships in the asteroid belt. Mining ships were converted into fighters. Every human who knew how to fly a spacecraft volunteered to help defend their species, but the most important preparation was happening in the minds of the human crews. They were remembering something that peaceful aliens had forgotten: how to hate their enemies and fight without mercy. Admiral Davis received reports from across human space. The message was always the same: ready for war. She looked out at the stars and wondered what the aliens would think when they realized their mistake. Humans had not come to the stars to conquer anyone. They had come to escape their own violent nature. But if aliens wanted to threaten humanity, they would discover that humans were very, very good at being violent. The galaxy was about to learn why. Captain Dan Phillips watched his screens as 6 Zephyrian warships moved toward his position. The U's Warhammer was alone, exactly as planned. The aliens thought they were hunting a single, helpless human vessel. They're taking their time, said Lieutenant Sarah Martinez, his weapons officer. She was a young woman who had trained on the war simulators since she was 16. Look at how they're flying. Straight lines, perfect formation. It's like they're in a parade. Dan smiled grimly. That's because they've never fought a real war. They think combat is about looking pretty and following rules. The enemy ships were beautiful, he had to admit. They gleamed in the starlight, covered in decorative metal and glowing symbols. Each one was twice the size of his destroyer, and they moved with the grace of dancers. Incoming message, reported Communications Officer Tim Brooks. The main screen showed a Zephyrian commander with the same gray skin and yellow eyes they had seen before. This one wore a fancy uniform covered in medals and ribbons. "Human vessel," the alien said proudly. "I am Fleet, Commander Zarthik. You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now, and we will kill you quickly." Dan looked at his crew. They were all young humans who had grown up hearing stories about the old wars on Earth. Wars where millions had died and entire continents had burned. Wars that had taught humanity how to fight without mercy. "Commander Zarthik," Dan replied, "I have a better idea. Why don't you surrender to me?" The alien's forearms waved in what looked like amusement. "You jest, creature. Your tiny ship cannot harm even one of my cruisers. Our shields are the strongest in the galaxy. Want to bet?" Dan asked. He cut the transmission and turned to Sarah. "Target their lead ship. Use the new plasma torpedoes." "Gladly, sir," Sarah said. Her fingers danced over the weapon controls. On Earth, she had been too aggressive for civilian life. Out here, that aggression was exactly what humanity needed. The Zephyrian ships began their attack run. They moved, slowly and steadily, firing energy beams that sparkled like fireworks. It was beautiful to watch, but their weapons were weak. They had been designed to look impressive, not to kill efficiently. The human ship moved differently. It twisted and spun through space like a fighter plane in an atmosphere. The alien beams missed completely. "Their weapons are for show," Sarah reported. "Lots of light and color, but almost no power behind them." Dan was not surprised. These aliens haven't fought a real war in centuries. They've forgotten how to build weapons that actually work. The U's warhammer fired back. 3 plasma torpedoes shot out, moving faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. They struck the lead Zephyrian cruiser and punched through its shields. Like they weren't even there. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire that lit up space for millions of miles. "Impossible," came a panicked voice from one of the remaining Zephyrian ships. "Our shields have never failed before." "That's because you've never fought humans before," Dan said calmly. He opened a channel to broadcast to all the alien ships. "This is Captain Phillips of the human destroyer Warhammer. You wanted to see our combat capabilities. How do you like them so far?" The aliens began firing wildly. Their beautiful formations broke apart as panic set in. But their weapons still couldn't penetrate the human ship's armor. "Sarah, take out another one," Dan ordered. The second Zephyrian cruiser died just as quickly as the first. The remaining 4 ships tried to run, but the human destroyer was faster. Much faster. "This is being broadcast across the galaxy," reported Tim. "Every alien species with communication equipment is watching this battle." Dan nodded. That was the plan. Let them all see what happened when someone threatened humanity. The 3rd alien ship exploded. Then the 4th. The last 2 Zephyrian vessels were desperately trying to escape, but the U's warhammer caught them easily. "Please," came a transmission from the final ship. "We surrender. Don't kill us." Dan looked at Sarah. The young woman's finger hovered over the firing button. "What are your orders, sir?" For a moment, Dan thought about mercy. Then he remembered the Zephyrian threat to burn human worlds and kill everyone on them. "No survivors," he said quietly. "Let the galaxy know what happens to anyone who threatens Earth." The last 2 alien ships died in nuclear fire. Across the U's galaxy, millions of aliens watched the recording in horror. The mighty Zephyrian fleet, which had conquered dozens of species, had been completely destroyed by a single human ship. On the Veltar Empire's capital world, Emperor Velkan stared at the screen in disbelief. How is this possible? 6 cruisers destroyed by one small ship? His military advisor, a trembling creature with blue skin, consulted his reports. "Your Majesty, our intelligence was wrong. Human ships are not exploration vessels. They are pure instruments of war. In the crystal hegemony, The ruling council gathered in emergency session. "The humans fight like demons," said one crystal being. "They show no mercy, no honor, no hesitation. They simply kill." Back on the U's Warhammer, Dan Phillips recorded, "A message to send to all alien governments. This is Captain Dan Phillips of the Human Fleet," he began. "Today you saw 6 Zephyrian warships attack 1 human destroyer. You saw the result. This is what happens when you threaten humanity." He paused, looking directly into the camera. "We did not come to your part of space to conquer anyone. We came here to explore and learn. But if you want to fight us, understand. This humans have been perfecting the art of war for thousands of years. Every weapon we have, every tactic we use, every ship we build has one purpose: to destroy our enemies completely." The message spread through alien communication networks faster than light. Within hours, every species in the galaxy had seen the recording. Many alien leaders began to reconsider their alliance with the Zephyrians. The humans had not just won a battle. They had won it so easily that it looked like a training exercise. On Earth, Admiral Davis received the battle report with satisfaction. 1 ship, 6 enemy cruisers destroyed, 0 human casualties, she read aloud to her staff. "The aliens are learning," said Dr. Torres, "but they're slow learners. It might take a few more demonstrations." Admiral Davis smiled coldly. "Then we'll give them more demonstrations, as many as they need." Admiral Tom Baker stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty, watching as the largest alien fleet ever assembled moved toward human space. The Zephyrians had called for help, and dozens of alien species had answered. Over 300 ships filled the dark space ahead of him. "They really don't learn, do they?" said Commander Mike Rodriguez, who stood beside him. Mike had fought in the Mars Rebellion and knew how to handle impossible odds. "Look at them," Tom said, pointing at the alien. "Formation. They're flying in perfect rows, all lined up like they're on display. It's like they want us to destroy them efficiently." The human fleet was much smaller. Only 50 ships, but each one was a weapon of war that had been tested in countless battles between human factions. The crews were veterans who had grown up fighting, and the ships carried enough firepower to destroy planets. "Admiral," reported Captain Lisa Stone from the U's Vengeance, "the Veltar Empire is demanding we surrender before the battle begins. They're offering to make us slaves instead of killing us." Tom laughed. "How generous of them. What did you tell them?" "I told them to come and take our ships if they want them," Lisa replied. She was a hard woman who had lost her family in a pirate raid. Today, she would have her revenge on anyone who threatened human civilians. The alien fleet began its advance. They moved slowly and carefully, maintaining their perfect formations. It was beautiful to watch, but Tom knew it was also stupid. In real combat, pretty formations just made you an easier target. "All ships," Tom broadcast to his fleet, "remember the plan. Hit them fast, hit them hard, and show no mercy. These aliens want to enslave our families and burn our worlds. Make them regret that decision." The human ships scattered like wolves, attacking a herd of sheep. They moved in random patterns, making it impossible for the aliens to target them effectively. Each human vessel was faster and more maneuverable than anything the aliens had ever seen. Commander Rodriguez took his ship, the UES Striker, straight into the middle of the alien formation. "Let's see how their shields handle a full nuclear barrage," he said with a grin. The alien ships opened fire first. Hundreds of energy beams lit up space in a dazzling display of light and color. But the beams were weak, designed more for intimidation than destruction. They barely scratched the armor of the human ship's dot. Then the humans fired back. Nuclear missiles streaked through space, each one carrying enough explosive power to level a city. Plasma cannons that could melt asteroid rock punched through alien. Shields like they were made of paper. The beautiful alien formations dissolved in fire and death. Impossible, screamed the Veltar Emperor over the communication channel. Your ships are too small to carry such weapons. Captain Lisa Stone's voice came back cold and hard. That's because your ships waste space on luxury quarters and decoration. Our ships are built for one thing only, killing our enemies. The UEs. Vengeance destroyed 3 Veltar cruisers with a single torpedo salvo. The aliens had never seen weapons that powerful before. On the Crystal Hegemony flagship, the alien commanders watched in horror as their invincible crystal armor shattered under human fire. How do they know exactly where to hit us? One of them asked. Because they've been studying warfare for thousands of years, another replied. While we built beautiful ships, they built killing machines. The battle was turning into a massacre. Human ships danced through the alien fleet like sharks in a feeding frenzy. Every human weapon hit its target. Every human maneuver was perfect. Every human tactic was designed to cause maximum damage with minimum risk. Captain Amy Johnson brought the UES Retribution alongside a massive Zephyrian battleship. Instead of trying to destroy it, she launched boarding pods filled with human marines. The aliens inside the battleship had never experienced hand-to-hand combat. They had technology and numbers, but the human marines had something else, the fighting spirit of a species that had never known peace. Don't kill them all, Amy ordered her marines. Leave some alive to tell others what happened here. Within minutes, the Zephyrian battleship was under human control. The alien crew, those who survived, huddled in corners and begged for mercy. Baker watched the battle from his command ship. The alien fleet was breaking apart. Ships that had seemed so mighty an hour ago were now fleeing in panic or burning wrecks floating in space. Admiral, reported his communications officer, we're getting surrender messages from 17 different species. They want to negotiate. Tell them the time for negotiation is over, Tom replied. They wanted to see human military power. Well, now they've seen it. The Veltar Emperor's ship, a massive vessel covered in gold and jewels, tried to escape. Captain Rodriguez pursued it in the Striker, his weapons charged and ready. Please, the Emperor broadcast. We made a mistake. We didn't know humans were so powerful. You made more than a mistake, Mike replied. You threatened to enslave our children. You wanted to burn our worlds. Now you pay the price. The Emperor's ship exploded in a fireball that could be seen. From a dozen star systems away, across the galaxy, alien governments watched the battle recordings in stunned silence. The greatest fleet ever assembled had been completely destroyed by a force 1/6 its size. The humans had not just won. They had made it look easy. On the planet Veltar Prime, the ruling council met in emergency session. How do we fight an enemy like this? Asked one council member. We don't, replied the military commander. We run, we hide, and we hope they don't notice us. The Crystal Hegemony sent an immediate message to Earth. The Crystal Hegemony formally recognizes human sovereignty over all claimed territory. We will not interfere with human activities and request that humans not interfere with ours. Dr. Rachel Thompson, humanity's top expert on alien psychology, watched the reports with satisfaction. They're learning, she told Admiral Davis. Most alien species haven't fought a real war in centuries. They've forgotten that combat is about killing your enemies, not looking good while you do it. What about the species that haven't surrendered yet? Davis asked. Give them time, Rachel replied. Word is spreading through the galaxy about what humans can do. Soon, every alien government will know that attacking humanity is suicide. The few remaining alien ships in the battle zone were broadcasting desperate surrender messages. But Admiral Baker was not in a forgiving mood. "Destroy them all," he ordered. "Let the galaxy know that threatening humanity has consequences." The last alien ships died in nuclear fire, their wreckage drifting through space as a warning to anyone else who might consider challenging human power. The battle was over. The greatest alien alliance in galactic history had been crushed in less than 3 hours, and humanity had lost exactly 0 ships. 6 months after the Great Battle, Ambassador Carol Mitchell stood before the reformed Galactic Council. The meeting hall was much smaller now. Many alien species had simply disappeared, retreating to their home worlds and hoping humanity would forget about them. The remaining alien representatives sat in uncomfortable silence. Where once they had been proud rulers of vast empires, now they looked like scared children waiting to be punished. "The Terran Federation has prepared new treaties for galactic peace," Corral announced. She was a diplomatic woman who had spent years learning alien languages and customs. But even she could not hide the strength behind her words. Emperor Kethful of what remained of the Zephyrian collective spoke first. He was the same alien who had threatened to burn human worlds, but now his voice shook with fear. "Ambassador Mitchell, the Zephyrian people deeply regret our earlier ... misunderstanding. We formally apologize for any threats made against humanity." Carol looked at him calmly. "Misunderstanding? You promised to enslave our children and destroy our worlds. That seems like a pretty clear threat to me." "Please," the Emperor begged. "We were wrong. We didn't understand human capabilities. We thought you were weak explorers. Not ... Not what?" Carol asked. "Not the most dangerous species in the galaxy." He finished quietly around the room. Other alien leaders nodded in agreement. The Veltar Empire, once proud conquerors, had been reduced to 3 star systems. The Crystal Hegemony had lost half their territory when their own colonies rebelled after seeing how easily humans had crushed their fleets. Admiral Jeff Harrison entered the chamber, wearing the uniform of the new Terran Border Guard. He was a tall man with gray hair who had fought in every major human conflict of the past 20 years. His presence made the alien representatives even more nervous. "Admiral," Carol said, "please update the Council on the new security arrangements." Jeff stepped forward and activated a holographic display. It showed the galaxy with bright red zones marked around human territory. "These are the new buffer zones," he announced. "No alien military vessel is allowed within 50 light years of any human world." 50 light years? Squeaked a representative from the Aquatic Federation. "That's larger than our entire empire." "Then you'd better not send any warships in our direction," Jeff replied without emotion. "Any alien military vessel that enters the buffer zone will be destroyed without warning." The aliens looked at each other in panic. Some of their trade routes passed through what were now human buffer zones. "What about peaceful trade ships?" asked the Veltar representative. Carol smiled, but it was not a warm smile. "Trade ships are welcome, as long as they follow human regulations. You'll submit your cargo manifests in advance, accept human inspectors on board, and pay the appropriate taxes." "Taxes?" several aliens asked at once. "Of course," Carol said. "Maintaining galactic peace is expensive. The Terran Federation will need resources to keep building the ships necessary to protect everyone from misunderstandings." What she didn't say, but everyone understood, was that the protection was mainly protection from humanity itself. Captain Paul Adams, who commanded the Border Patrol Fleet, received regular reports from across the galaxy. Alien species were teaching their children about the warrior race that had appeared from the Outer Rim. Human military doctrine was being studied in alien war colleges, not to copy it, but to understand how terrifyingly effective it was. The crystalline hegemony had started a new tradition. Every year, on the anniversary of the Great Battle, they held a ceremony to honor the lessons learned from the humans. Young crystal beings were taught that some species were born to fight, and those species should never be challenged. Dr. Rachel Thompson published a study on alien psychology after the war. Most galactic species developed their technology through cooperation and trade, she wrote. They built beautiful ships for exploration and ceremony. But humans developed their technology through constant warfare against other humans. Every human ship is a weapon refined by thousands of years of practice at killing. The study became required reading in alien schools across the galaxy. On Earth, Admiral Helen Davis reviewed the monthly reports from the Border Patrol. Any problems? She asked Captain Adams during their regular meeting. None at all, Paul replied. The aliens are very polite now. They file their flight plans exactly on time. They pay their taxes without complaint, and they stay far away from our territory. Good, Helen said. How are the new ship construction projects going? Ahead of schedule. The aliens are so eager to show their friendship that they're selling us raw materials at below market prices. We'll have 100 new destroyers by next year. Helen nodded with satisfaction. The galaxy had learned its lesson, but she knew that lessons could be forgotten. Humanity would need to stay strong to make sure the peace continued. In the Outer Rim territories, Captain Jake Morrison, the man who had made first contact with the Zephyrians, now commanded an exploration fleet again. But this time, when his ships encountered new alien species, the meetings went very differently. Welcome to our territory, new aliens would say nervously. We bring gifts and seek friendship with the mighty human race. Jake still preferred peace to war, but he had to admit that the galaxy was much more polite now. Young alien cadets across hundreds of worlds were taught the same lesson in their military academies. Their instructors, many of whom had survived encounters with human forces, would tell them, remember always, the humans did not come to the stars to conquer. They came to explore. But when threatened, they showed us what a true warrior species can do. Their ships were not built for trade or exploration. They were built for war. Never forget this lesson, because forgetting it means death. The galaxy had trembled when it learned what human warships could do. And in trembling, it had found a new respect for the species that had turned warfare into an art form. Peace reigned across the stars, enforced by the knowledge that somewhere in the darkness, human ships patrolled the void. Ships that had been designed not for glory or beauty, but for the simple, terrible purpose of making sure their enemies would never threaten them again. The message was clear to every thinking being in the galaxy. Humanity had not sought war, but when war found them, they had proven beyond doubt that they were very, very good at it. And that was a lesson the galaxy would never forget.